The Denver Broncos have waived running back Melvin Gordon. What's up, guys? Welcome to Denver Broncos Syndicate, part of the Sports Syndicate family of channels where we are dedicated to bringing you content about our favorite sports teams. I am your host, Gage Madrid. Before we jump in, guys, I just need a big favor from you. We are so close to our big goal of 1,000 subscribers. We just need about 30 more subscribers to get there, so I would really appreciate it if you would hit the subscribe button down below. Alright, guys, so this morning we got hit with some massive breaking news. After his basically game-losing fumble yesterday against the Las Vegas Raiders, the Denver Broncos have waived running back Melvin Gordon this morning. In my opinion, all parties involved needed a fresh start, and this was 100% the right move. Now, Melvin Gordon has always been a very polarizing figure here in the Mile High City. He was signed by the Broncos as a free agent from the Chargers back in 2020. Now, of course, coming from a division rival, there was always going to be some complacency between the Broncos fan base and Melvin Gordon. But what only added on to that was Phillip Lindsay, of course. The Broncos already had the back-to-back 1,000-yard rusher and Denver native on their roster, and a lot of people in Broncos country basically felt that Melvin Gordon took Phillip Lindsay's job. So between the Phillip Lindsay situation and Melvin Gordon coming from a division rival, there was already some bad taste in Broncos country's mouths when John Elway made this move. Also, the financial ramifications definitely were not great. You had Phillip Lindsay on the roster who was making less than $1 million per year, and then you went out and signed Melvin Gordon, and he got the bag, 2 years, $16 million. Now, Melvin had been productive during his first 2 years in Denver. He had over 900 rushing yards in each of those 2 seasons and a combined 17 touchdowns. And that was all with him splitting time with both Phillip Lindsay and Javonte Williams respectively. Now, the one thing that Broncos country always is going to remember about Melvin Gordon, of course, is his fumbling issues. The dude had a total of 12 fumbles during his tenure with the Broncos, 5 of which came in this season alone, and we're barely 10 games into the year. Going back to even his first game as a Bronco, he had a critical fumble that basically cost the team a win against the Tennessee Titans back in 2020. And ever since then, it was kind of a rinse and repeat story. I think back to games such as the Eagles game last year, and there were many more where Melvin Gordon literally fumbled the game away. The Chiefs game last year as well. The Broncos were in position to potentially beat the Chiefs for the first time since Peyton Manning, and a Melvin Gordon red zone fumble ended up costing us that win. Same thing this year. We go back to the Week 1 game against the Seahawks where both Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams had goal line fumbles, and we would have never been in the 64-yard field goal situation in Seattle had that never happened. Then he basically cost us a win in the first game against the Raiders, and now his fumble basically is what killed all offensive momentum for the Broncos in this game against the Raiders. In the previous 2 seasons, Melvin Gordon was at least productive at the running back position, so you could at least somewhat justify keeping him on the roster. This season, you just could not do that. In 10 games, Melvin Gordon carried the rock 90 times for 318 yards and 2 touchdowns, along with his 5 fumbles. That's an average of only 3.5 yards per carry. That's not a productive running back. You could make an argument that between his lack of production and his fumbling issues, Melvin Gordon was the worst running back in the league for the Denver Broncos this season. I wish nothing but the best for Melvin Gordon moving forward, and I have to imagine that some team is probably going to put a claim for him off waivers, because Melvin Gordon is a quality RB2. But at the end of the day, Melvin Gordon's days as the feature back are done. This season made that perfectly clear. He was brought back by general manager George Paton on a cheap deal this offseason to be the backup for Javonte Williams, and once Javonte went down, he was thrust into that RB1 role, and subsequently he lost his job to Latavius Murray. Now, Murray's been no world beater himself at the running back position. He only averaged 3 yards per carry yesterday. But don't get me wrong, I'd much rather take Latavius Murray and his 3 yards per carry than Melvin Gordon and his fumbles. Alright guys, I'm curious curious, what do you feel is the tone that the Broncos are setting now that Melvin Gordon has been cut? Do you feel that this is the first step that the team needs to take to kind of rinse away the losing culture that the team has established over the last few years? Drop those comments down below. I would love to hear from you. Be sure to leave a like on this video as well as subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. And while you're at it, be sure to follow me on Twitter at Gage Madrid NFL for even more Broncos coverage. And for now, this has been another episode of Denver Broncos Syndicate. I am your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out and let's ride.